Well, hello everyone and happy Wednesday. It is digital host A.J. Wuest, and I want to welcome you all back to Before the Four. If this is your first time watching Before the Four, I want to welcome you. This is just a little interactive live stream where I talk about WAFF's top stories before the evening newscasts. And also, if you feel led to, feel free to leave a comment on Facebook. I can see all the comments right here. If you guys leave some, and I will try to respond to you guys. If it's a question I don't know the answer, I will try to find the answer for that. But yeah, I just want this to be a nice little interactive live stream for you all. But with that said, I think it is about time to jump into WAFF's top stories. So let's start things off here. Let's pull that up. So starting things off, a Hartselle man charged with the killing of 4 people in 2020 could face the death penalty. Now, Frederick Allen Rogers, along with John Michael Legg, they were both involved in a motorcycle gang. Rogers and Legg together are accused of shooting and killing 7 people at a known drug house in Vallehermoso Springs. And then after that, they set the house on fire, allegedly. Both men have pled not guilty for reason of mental illness. Rogers is expected to stand trial in August. Now, at this time, the state has not decided whether they will seek the death penalty in Legg's case, but both men are currently being held at the Morgan County Jail without bond. Now, that is a wild story there, and let's pull up the next story, and this is out in Morgan County, Morgan County in Decatur. 48's Matthew King, he will be looking into a situation with Lieutenant Joe Renshaw with Decatur Police after Friday's gag order hearing for Mac Bailey Marquette. Now, Lieutenant Renshaw is being accused of running multiple fake social media accounts where he addresses some personal opinions about the shooting death of Steve Perkins. So stick around for tonight's newscast to hear any updates Matthew might have of this situation. And also stick around for 48's Aria Pons.
I was afraid that we would run up on somebody. I was afraid that we would run up on somebody and
There we go. Sorry about that, you all, if you're watching at home. You got a sneak peek into this next story that I'm about to say. But Aria, she is out in the Shoals. She spoke with Franklin County EMA Director Mary Glass, and that is who you all just heard. And this is on a new device that could help prevent choking. Now, the Franklin County EMA currently has 144 life vacs to distribute across different agencies. So again, make sure you stick around for tonight's newscast for updates on this potential life-saving device. And this is Mary Glass. This is what she had to say a little bit about this new anti-choking device. So let's play that for you all.
you don't have the strength to do the Heimlich maneuver on an adult. I mean, it takes a lot of strength to do that. And with this, it looks simple, and I'm hoping it is if we ever have to use it.
Yes, and that was Mary Glass again. For that plays again, I am going to cut over here. But now here's another story, and this is actually a very crazy story out in the Shoals in Ford City, where a Jeep actually got stuck between a home and a wall this morning. I am going to show you guys a picture of this right here. Y'all, look at this. That is the Jeep right there. And I think the other picture is a little bit better. Now, according to our news partners at the Times Daily, this wreck happened on Point Road just before 8:30 this morning. The homeowner said their neighbor's Jeep actually rolled down their front yard, crashing into their home. Now, emergency crews, they said luckily no one was injured, but they are working to remove this Jeep between the two surfaces. So stick around for any updates on that. And now with the next story, and this is out in Lawrence County, where area leaders are calling for an emergency meeting of the Cortland Town Council. Now, according to Cortland Public Safety Director Scott Norwood, At this time, we do not know the reason for the emergency meeting, but we have received multiple complaints regarding a local juvenile facility. 48 Savannah Sapp, she'll be attending the meeting at 6 tonight, so stay tuned for the full breakdown. And this next story will be in Scottsboro, where there was a confirmed fatal shooting last night on Tupelo Pike. Now, we don't have a lot of information at this time, but we have reached out to the Jackson County Sheriff's Office for more. The Jackson County Sheriff's Office is currently investigating the situation, and we'll update you all as we continue to learn more. Now, in case you missed it, let's pull that up for you all. Governor Ivey, she recently signed into progress an Alabama School of Healthcare Sciences to help combat shortages. Now, 48's Claudia Peppenhorst, she recently covered this story in our morning newscast. Let's dive into what she had to say about it. Pull that up.
Now, the Alabama School of Healthcare Sciences will be similar to the School of Cyber Technology and Engineering that's right here in Huntsville. The $65 million project will immerse students in the healthcare field from the classroom to the operating room, thanks to a partnership with Demopolis' local hospital, Whitfield Regional. Douglas Brewer, CEO and president of Whitfield, says their hope is to train students and get them the necessary certifications so they can get to work as soon as graduation day rolls around. Project leaders expect the school will house around 400 students in the 9th through 12th grade. Brewer says that many students entering the field will have a big impact on staffing shortages felt at all rural hospitals.
This is really, in my opinion, but also an economic project. It's not just a healthcare project. This is going to help these hospitals survive. And the hospitals in rural areas tend to be one of the biggest employers. They tend to be one of the biggest economic drivers in their communities because they bring in funds from Medicare and from outside sources that creates economic growth in their communities.
Now, the Alabama.
Very awesome. And now in national news, where a series of violent tornadoes recently swept through the state of Iowa, causing a lot of destruction, injuring, and killing people. Learn the latest on this tragic story in tonight's newscast. Now up in Memphis, the hearing on the famous Graceland estate was today, and during the hearing, the investment company withdrew its claims that Lisa Marie Presley, Elvis's daughter, and Elvis Presley Enterprises had not paid back a loan on the property. Now, the company withdrew its claim after a Memphis judge blocked the foreclosure of the historic landmark. So Graceland is here to stay. And also, speaking of Elvis, you guys are gonna wanna watch this right here. That's right, the Rocket City Trash Pandas held an Elvis night last night at Toyota Field. There he is right there, as you just saw. That's right, the Montgomery Biscuits are back in town through Sunday to take on the Trash Pandas. Now, last night, the Pandas started the series off right with a 9-4 win. Player of the game, of course, first baseman Eric Wagaman, who homered and had 3 RBIs on the night. So make sure you take advantage of this awesome in-state series at Toyota Field this week. Now, let's talk about the weather. Now, it is certainly warm out there. There is no denying that. But potential storms could be rolling in this Memorial Day weekend. So make sure you stick around for tonight's latest forecast. And if you guys missed it yesterday, I got to interview Eric Fritz. He is the former Huntsville Track Club president. And if you are a fan of exercise, whether it's a mile run, whether it's a 5K, or whether it is a 10K, if you're running a 10K, you're a lot braver than I am. I must have to say, yeah, I don't think I'm going to be running a 10K. But this is what Eric Fritz had to say about the Cotton Row Run this Memorial Day. First, a little bit about the Cotton Row Run and just what makes the event so great.
The Cotton Row Run is, it's one of the long-standing, it is a community event. We try to bring in a lot of we have the marathon, we have other big things where you're trying to bring in a lot of people from out of town. We're not really focused on bringing in all those people from out of town. We're trying to do this for the town and have it be a big party for the town. It's really a big focus on Memorial Day, so there's a large focus on our fallen comrades, those who have served our country and served our community locally as well. So it's just a big hometown, fun, good race.
That's awesome, yeah. So can you talk a little bit about the history and how it got started? I believe this is the 44th annual.
It is the 44th running. We've been doing it for 45 years. We lost a year there in COVID, but it started back in 1980. The track club started in the early 70s as a way to get, there wasn't a lot of opportunities for young track high school kids and things like that to be able to practice and run races, so the track club started up. After that, for a few years, they said, hey, we need to put on a big race. The Cotton Row Run and the Rocket City Marathon were these showcase southern races in Alabama for years, so it's really well known in terms of the history of road running and things like that. And it's really been a great race for both the community and elites over the years. These days, there's so many races, there's so many things going on everywhere. We don't get all the big elites like we used to, but it used to be a really top-notch destination race for elites. I think we've had Olympians here and things like that in the past.
Very cool. That's awesome.
But that's going back maybe the 80s. Yeah.
I feel that. So I see there's first a little bit about, yes, and that was former Huntsville Track Club president Eric Fritz. He was talking about the 44th annual Cotton Row Run. And in this interview, he mentions the 10K, and the 10K is the one with the big hill. So if you're looking for a calf builder this Memorial Day, that is definitely the one to run. Me personally, if I'm running one, I might be running the mile. I think that one is a little bit more my speed. He said that one is super flat. And you know, that sounds pretty good to me. Now let's head into stories you're just not going to want to miss. Oh yeah, and by the way, you can find that previous interview I just showed on our website, waff.com, if you want to watch the full one. But yes, stories you're just not going to want to miss. Country superstar Morgan Wallen is back in the headlines. A very famous NFL quarterback rejected the offer to be a presidential candidate's running mate. And could a popular omega-3 supplement pose detrimental health issues? Stick around for tonight's newscast for these stories you're just not going to want to miss. Now, if you are returning to Before the Four, this is not your first rodeo. You know how we like to end Before the Four. And we do a Facebook fun segment, if you're new, where throughout the day, it's around 11:30, around noon, maybe even, we will post a question on Facebook for you guys to give your responses. And today's question was, what food did you hate as a child? And me personally, I was not a fan of zucchini. I absolutely despised anything squash, zucchini, anything in that family. I was like, that stuff's nasty, it's gushy, it's just not very flavorful. I was not a fan. But let's see what you all had to say. Rebecca Royal said squash, and that is, I cannot agree, like I just said, I agree 100%. Squash, and I still don't like squash. I'm not a fan. But Rebecca, thank you so much for commenting. I'm glad me and you are on the same page. Let's see who else commented. English peas. I'm not a fan of English peas either. I think they taste awful. Definitely hated English peas as a child, as I still do. And let's see the last comment I want to mention. Rebecca said fish. I still can't stand it. Now, I'm not a big fan of fish either, but it kind of depends what we're talking about when we talk about fish. Like, are we talking about that frozen cod that you might get at Captain D's? Or or are we talking about actually like high quality fish, something that had been caught the day of, and you put it on the fryer? Now, I can get behind some fresh fish, but I don't know. I can't get behind anything frozen, anything from Captain D's. I'm just not a big fan of Captain D's. But, you know, everyone has their own taste, and I have to respect that. But that is it. We are all out of time, but I want to thank everyone for watching and spending just a little bit of your Wednesday afternoon with me. And I'm digital host A.J. Wuest. If you haven't done so, make sure you download the 48 News app. And for weather, get the 48 First Alert weather app. Get those push notifications turned on and get the breaking news delivered right to your phone. And with that, we are going to end this thing, and I want to thank you all for watching. You all have a wonderful night.